Good morning. I'd like to read you a story. This is from one of the most influential books of my life, Herb of Grace, Pilgrim's Inn by Elizabeth Gooch. And this is the story of St. Eustace. He was Placidus before he was converted, and this is the story of his conversion. He lived in Italy. He was a Roman noble, a great huntsman, a rich fairy tale knight, riding out from the pages of an illuminated missal, on his great white horse with its gay trappings, his spurs on his heels, his hunting horn slung over his shoulder, his hunting knife on his belt, and his spear in his hand. His garments all bright and gay and richly furred, his dogs bounding about him. One day, in this beauty and this pomp, he went hunting in the forest outside Rome, in the dark forest where there are wild beasts in plenty for a brave man to slay, boars and bears, as well as the deer and swift hares. But it was not only because of the good hunting that Placidus rode to the Roman forest. He rode in pursuit of something else besides excitement and danger, something unknown to which his tongue could give no name, and of which his imagination could form no image. And he rode alone, because the huntsman of the unknown must follow a path narrow as the confines of his own body, lonely as his own pain, dark as his own ignorance, and his way is his own way, and cannot be shared with another. But though the forest was dark and dangerous, and the path narrow, it was full of gleams and flashes of beauty that were candles lit along the way, beckoning Placidus on and on, to that something beyond, of whose existence he had no proof, except the fact of his own journeying, but which he knew he would surely recognize under whatever guise his quarry would choose to show itself to him at his journey's end. And so he rode, and was glad of the forests that were singing bright beneath the forest trees, of the melodious birds in the branches, of the streams and the pale stretches of still water, and of the running that could not be seen of skipping beasts. The day wore on, and still Placidus rode, he did not know where, and after he did not know what. Then, at last, he saw it, a white deer, the most perfect creature he had ever seen, with great branching antlers, the magnificent head reared proudly, the splendid body poised for flight. For a moment, the flashing eyes met his, commanding him, and then the creature was off. Silver horns spurring the ground, the perfect body a flash of speed, the antlers swaying this way and that, yet never entangled in the branches, beckoning, challenging, defying. One clear call did Placidus sound upon his horn, and then he was off too. His dogs after him, his horse stretched out to a full gallop, with great hoofs pounding on the forest floor. Placidus bent low in the saddle, whispering threats and cajolements, reckless of time or place, life or death, knowing only that he must follow that deer until the end. And so the wild chase went on, but he could not catch up with the creature. It was always a little ahead. The horse was near foundering. His own breath came in gasps. Some of the dogs had fallen behind, and still he went on. And then the ground rose steeply, and the rocks of a mighty mountain towered up before the failing sight of horse and rider. The deer bounded up it, swift yet unhurried, as though winged. But Placidus could not follow. He reined in his horse, lest it dash itself to death against the rocks, and bowed his head in shame. He, the unconquerable huntsman, was beaten at last. And at that moment of his shame, the miracle happened. The deer stopped and swung round to face him, lifting its proud head. and the antlers formed themselves into a gleaming cross with a crucified figure upon it, that strange symbol of the Christians, which he had seen many times and wondered at for a moment or two. Then had turned aside and gone on his way, thinking no more about it. But now he could not turn aside, for the deer, the vision sent to him, had led him directly to this end. His way was blocked by this impassable mountain and the challenge of this cross. There was only one thing to do, and he did it. He leapt from his horse and fell upon his knees, and a voice cried out loudly, echoing through the forest, "Placidus, why dost thou attempt to injure me? I am Jesus Christ, whom thou hast long served in ignorance. Dost thou believe in me?" And Placidus answered, "Lord, I believe." The voice came again, the words spoken this time very low in his own soul, as though in warning. "Many sorrows shalt thou endure for my sake. Many temptations will assail thee. But be of good courage. I will always be with thee." A thrill of dismay went through Placidus, yet he did not hesitate, for he knew that he was not at his journey's end. As he had followed the vision of the deer to the vision of the cross, so he must follow the vision of the cross to something beyond again. What it was, he did not know, but in spite of his fear, he knew that to attain the goal at last, he would give all that he had, down to the last drop of his blood. "Lord, I am content," he said. "Only give me patience to endure all things for thee." When at last he looked up again, the deer, with a crucifix between its antlers, had disappeared, and night was falling in the forest.